I give myself a thumbs up. No, I'm not going to do it. It's been a minute since I went live, so maybe I'll do that. Nothing special or extravagant going on. Just felt like chiming in, and then at some point, I think when I get the French done, I'll do another status report video, which would be video number 2. So again, nothing fancy going on here, just bad lighting and cold. And yeah, really bad lighting. A dull exacto. So there's our first French sprue, French strip, flipped off the sprue. Only 599,000 more to go. Not to mention the flags. British are pretty much done. I did end up putting a red coat of flat red. This would be flat red. Vallejo, not Army Painter, but Vallejo flat red. I couldn't not. I mean, it was a little too light, a little too bright. So this made them darker and less, again, toy, bubblegum, dog toy, chew toy look. I couldn't take it, so I did that. But again, the British are pretty much done. So that's nice. The French will go fast because these guys, the color that they produce them in, are just fine. It's a perfect hue, not too shiny. So no problems there. And I already have set up the beginnings of a General d'Armée scenario with Laissant, which I did end up painting white instead of leaving gray. It just looked better. Not that the gray looked bad, but it made it look like more like the historical Laissant farmhouse once I got the white on there. The other thing I've decided to do is instead of following in step with the black powder suggestions of 4 stands for a regular standard unit, I'm using 3, and that allows you more stands. And plus, when you spread these guys out on line, if you do it the way that the Epic Black Powder rules suggest, you end up with the same frontage as you would if you were using 28 millimeter, and that's just too much. Just too much. So 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm doing. I'm assuming everybody can hear me. I'm going to also assume that the music in the background is not too loud. The other thing I thought I might ignore is the skirmishers. I might change that, but the entire time I've played Napoleonic stuff, I've tended to ignore the role skirmishers play. I feel like they kind of balance or cancel each other out. So what's the point? Maybe that's the wrong attitude to have. But that's how I feel about it. We'll add that the skirmishers here for the French do look pretty good. Number of poses, so can't go wrong there. The British with their skirmishers yet to acquire because I'm waiting on the 95th in skirmish pose. But again, I don't even know that I'm going to mess with them. So there's that. And you've got these pesky artillery that wants to, the axles want to break off.
I'm not saying he's dumb, but I'm not saying he's smart either.
Yeah, the lighting here is, plus I need glasses, and I'm not trying to be funny. I really do need glasses at this point, but the lighting here is just atrocious. So anybody that's tagging along for the ride, feel free to chime in. Let me know what you're up to. Again, this stream is more to keep me company than anything by way of informative, extremely interesting things that I have to share. Ooh, nice tight fit. No comment. There we go. Wow, that's perfect. The British guys with this cannons business were did not fit that nicely. I have been using super glue for these cannons when I mount them. Otherwise, I'm not, because I want to be able to take them off the stand at some point. If I did get drunk one day and decide I needed to paint these, the option would be open. So there's a cannon. Look, friends, a cannon. How about that? This is a leader, and I'm generally happy with the sculpts and the poses of these guys. No issues there for sure. And again, the hue, the color. I was a little miffed about the red color, the British, which I did end up, again, to repeat, I did end up putting just a quick coat of flat red on them to get rid of that hideous light red color that they came in. The color that the French are in are just fine. Some of these guys have great coats on, some of them don't, so that was cool that they sculpted like that instead of everything the same. Another thing you might notice, at least in contrast to the ACW Epic stuff that was released, these guys are very, well, I should say extremely perfectly in line. They're like exact replicas of each other, whereas there was some variation, as you can see with the this Union Brigade here. As you can see, they're a little bit loosely packed there in line. I suppose I wish they would have made these guys a little less perfect looking, but maybe that was standard fare for the era. I don't know. It's awful perfect. John Wayne Everett, just perfect on all things. Thanks. Doing front ranks. Oh, I'm so jealous. Front rank, man. The sale finally went through, right, with Gripping Beast, and you can order stuff now. Live in California. Yeah, well, that's cool. Welcome, John. Front rank, when I was doing my research on getting into 28 mil, I had decided that front rank was probably my favorite poses and sculpts, probably second to none. So why didn't I get them? I don't know. I don't make much sense sometimes. But yeah, they're good looking guys. That front rank stuff. Well, that sale took forever to Gripping Beast. I'm glad it finally went through. There's a couple other producers out there with some good looking 28 millimeter Napoleonic stuff, but yeah, definitely front rank is some of the best. As the cat digs its claws into my leg to keep herself on my leg. We've both been struggling with the cold here, which is so ironic considering where I live. It's typically hot and humid. It was so cold yesterday morning in the kitchen I could see my breath, so that's no joke. The ability to heat this place is challenging, not to mention that because of the nature of what this place is poorly insulated. I've already talked about all this stuff. Much of what I will probably say will be a repeat of things I said from the past. Band called the Helicopters in the background from Sweden, one of my favorite bands. I like all kinds of music. What is the? I don't understand. That's great. They fit perfect. These cannons fit perfectly for the French, and they fit like crap for the British. That's strange. I'll try to be less astonished, but I mean, oh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. That means less gluing, and I think I had at one point probably 6 layers of super glue on my fingers. They call that stratigraphy in archaeology. Dig down to each layer and find archaeological artifacts. You can finally buy again. John said, "Do you have over 2,000 of them?" Good Lord, how many of those do you have painted? That's amazing. My goal, I guess it's a goal. I think the perfect Goldilocks number of Napoleonic figs, 28 mil, is 500 a side. So that's to say 500 British, 500 uh, opposition, whatever. I came close, but I think a little over 800 is about all I had in me, and I couldn't do it anymore. That's not to say I'm never going to do it again, but I went hot and heavy there for a while with the fig painting. And but yeah, I think 1,000 is ideal. If we were playing a game, we'd do a shot. You know, every time a tree falls over when I'm playing a game, streaming it, we do a shot. The tree just fell over, but I don't know if that counts because I'm not technically playing. So that's going to look great. This Eagle standard. Once you get flag on it, look at that. Can you see that? Probably not. It's a great little mold on the Eagle there. All are painted, have a store, but not selling yet. Do you have a online store and or a? You must mean online store. You don't have a physical brick and mortar store, do you? The drudgery of this comes when I had flock base and flocked the stands, so with static grass. I have to do that for the French, but it goes fairly quickly. I have a system. I'm not necessarily looking forward to doing it though. Just out of curiosity, and you feel free not to answer if you don't want to, but what would 1,000 painted front rank figs cost if one was so inclined to go that route? Yeah, these. Say it again, just perfect. This can fit perfect. What's the sound like? Am I coming through clear, or do I need to turn it up, turn it down? Do I sound like I'm in a box? I suppose I could check all these things before I start streaming, but who does that really? I guess some people do. I don't want to be all whispery. I don't want to be too loud and the thing pops and crackles. I'm wondering what Warlord's going to do by way of additional releases in waves. We already know that the Highlanders and the French Guard are coming, which I have on pre-order. But I wonder if they will go the route of ACW and have individual commanders, make them available. And what else they have? I understand the Prussians are coming. But big here, it would be cool if they did some. This would be awful specialized, but it would be cool if they did some rocket units for the British. I suppose that's needed. Talked to somebody on another video, and he was saying that he was thinking about dipping these, which I had considered as well, and as a way to paint them. Just so like for the boots, you dip them in black paint up to the boot. I don't think that would work though. Now that I think about it, if you just dip them, unless you really thin the paint, it would be too thick and probably obscure any detail on the mold, right? So maybe that wouldn't work. I had considered procuring an airbrush, a really good airbrush that could do a very fine stream, and just do a quick, again, similar concept, just do a quick spray for the footwear and then another quick spray for the breeches. I'm too particular though, and I probably wouldn't like the end result, which would force me to end up probably painting them anyway. So I have the French Army starter box here, but I also have 2 additional reinforcement sets of infantry, reinforcement set of light cavalry and heavy cavalry. But I'm really only going to punch and mount what is needed for this particular scenario I have set up, and then adjust accordingly going forward, instead of just basing everything. There's really no need to do it. As I said earlier, I do have the British set up on the table here, and they look good. I mean, the scale looks perfect. I mean, I throw the 28 millimeter on here, and they look good primarily because they're painted figs. But scale-wise, they just, you really do need a gigantic table with tons and tons of figures, and to do that with 28 millimeter stuff is daunting. But and again, I'll do a video and show you guys what I'm talking about after this. But the scale is just perfect for what I've got set up table-wise. These cannons are going too well. One of these guys has to have an issue at some point, right? Something break. I think a standard battery of cannon is 3. And there's ample stuff on these sprues. I ended up with extras. So there's no shortage of stuff here. And this is just again, the infantry that I'm going through. I still have the cavalry to work through. So there's that. Mardi Gras is about ready. Well, I guess it has popped off here in New Orleans. I think it was 2 years ago it was canceled, and then a year ago they did this thing called Mardi Gras, where everybody decorated their houses, and you could drive through and see it. It's not the same though. So this will be the first year in 3 years that they're doing it again. Don't know that I'll go. Have gone in the past. I tend to avoid crowds and all the reindeer games, but that's just me being a fuddy-duddy and negative, and letting my anxiety get the best of me. can't see what I'm doing. I have a light here, a light there, a light here, and I still can't see what the hell I'm doing. I have a great light with a magnifying glass in the kitchen, which makes sense. It does me no good in there. That's where I usually do this stuff, in the kitchen. But as I said, it's a little cold in there. And I can't film live in there. I guess I could if I really put my mind to it, but I think the Wi-Fi is very good in the kitchen. For those that like hockey, the All-Star game was on yesterday. And I understand why it is what it is, but it doesn't mean I really am in favor of what it is. And what I'm talking about is the format in which the games are played. That there's like 3 20-minute games, and it's 3 players a side, and virtually there's no defense required. It's all about scoring goals, they say, to appease the fans. That's not hockey, in my opinion. It's just junk. Again, I sound negative, and I'm sorry, but big part of the game is defense, and I don't know. I still watched it, but it's really the only sport I care about. I don't care about football. I don't care about the Super Bowl. That's fine if other people do. I like that you guys like that. I don't. Just the hockey. He just likes the hockey. Infantry are going relatively quickly. I'll probably, because since they're going so fast, I'll probably, at least to me, probably not to you, I'll probably go ahead and de-sprue the reinforcement infantry. Today is Indian Food Day. God, I've been doing this for, I don't know, at least 2 years, probably longer, every week. Get Indian food. I've been having them make it, they call it crazy hot. So there's hot, Indian hot, which is traditional, and crazy hot. And the last time I got crazy hot. And it's crazy hot, but my God, it's a pleasurable pain. It's hard to describe. As I sit there wondering why I do that, it's just the endorphins are rushing around, and it's good stuff. There should probably be a study done, a sociological, cultural study done on people that watch other people do stuff like this. I mean, it's arguably one thing to do what I'm doing, but for somebody to sit and watch me do this, it's an interesting concept, I guess. Another cannon coming up. Exciting news. Yeah, I'm just leaving the skirmishers for now. Not sure how I'm gonna mess with those, but sure enough, I had. Having said what I said, now I lost the one viewer that was watching. He's like, you know what? You're right. Why am I watching this crap? You're clipping things off of sprues. What am I doing? I need to get my act together. All right, another cannon. This is just foot artillery now. We got a horse artillery on the other sprues. And I just couldn't be happier with the way these guys are going together. That makes me happy. It's a bit of a fight with the British artillery crap. And also, the any further releases they do for this, It's going to be plastic, not crappy resin. Bendy crappy resin. So that's a good thing. The thing about selling, I have similar things, but they're risk figures based and set up, and I should probably sell those. And the hexagon terrain that I had built to go with it, which is sufficient to play just about any commands and colors scenario, regular commands and colors. I'm talking to nobody here, but it doesn't matter. Just talk to myself and go that route. Sell that stuff because I won't need it anymore now that I have this. Something that I had always hoped would get released, and here it is. But it's not painted. Well, it'll be all right, you guys. Life goes on. War Games Illustrated on Facebook posted something about these guys, and a healthy amount of folks chimed in saying, it's ridiculous. They're not painted. Who would do such a thing? Why would you? And I try not to take the bait and chime in on that stuff, but I had to at this point. And I just thought, if you're going to sit there and cry about unpainted figures, why do you care? Why do you care? If you want to paint it, paint them. If somebody doesn't want to paint them, just go away. Don't worry about it. Because all you're doing is intimidating people, newcomers into the hobby. You're intimidating them and making them think that they have to paint them, and you can't enjoy the hobby unless they're painted. And y'all are too hard on yourselves, to be honest with you. I think that's the biggest problem with this particular hobby. You guys are too hard on yourselves. Just enjoy what you're doing. And if that means painted or unpainted, so be it. As long as you're enjoying yourself, that's all that matters. Because the folks that complain about, well, they don't look right, and you better not bring those to my table. Well, that's fine. Nobody wants to probably play with you anyway if you're sounding like that. And these same people that are complaining about unpainted figures are going to be the same ones that complain about there's no newcomers in the hobby. It's all gray hairs. Well, you ran everybody off that had any potential interest in doing it because you got all these ridiculous rules and requirements to allegedly be able to enjoy the hobby, which is a bunch of junk. I was going to do a separate rant video on that, but that's just silly. There's no point in doing that. I got my booster shot, yay for me. I'd already gotten the 2 shots and a flu shot, so that was 3. And I just thought, I'm not against the booster, but my God, how many shots am I supposed to put in me? And work decided in order to qualify for having been inoculated, you have to have your booster shot as well. So I suppose I was forced into getting that. Not complaining, just saying. It's probably for the best, but I was of the opinion that 2 shots were plenty. What do I know, though? Not a doctor. I don't think I've had the COVID, but I suppose it's a possibility. So yeah, I've got this general Desarmé scenario set up, and then when I get tired of that, I'm going to try and hop into some, forgive me for saying so, commands and color stuff. just because it would look pretty nifty on the table in this format. Pretty nifty indeed. What are you guys reading? You reading anything? Do people read? Or is it all audiobooks? I guess that's reading, even if you're just listening. I'll read it. I read probably 95% less than I used to. Ain't that a shame? Especially considering where I work. Access to thousands of books. Boom! Oh, goodness, look good. How many pieces of artillery do I need, though? So anyway, I guess I brought up the reading thing because I found a book that was somewhat interesting. It was brought to my attention by this podcast I found called Hermetics on YouTube. And he interviews fringe philosophers and authors and theorists, lesser known folks. One guy that apparently is not that lesser known, but he was to me, Rene Girard, and he came up with this theory of okay, now I'm gonna embarrass myself. A theory of desire, basically, and he proposes that things that we think we want are not just things that we have sui generis out of nothing decided we want. It's a little more involved than that. What typically happens, according to him, with this wanting desire, is there is a what he calls a model, and this is typically a person that has something that we then decide we want not because we necessarily want the thing, but because the person has it, thus causing us to want it. Simply because, does that make sense? Not because we want the thing, but because the person that has the thing is the source of this want. Now, he goes on to say it is intrinsic. It is not something necessarily that is bad, but it is important that we understand the format of this desire such that we can, better comprehend why we want the things we want, and how better perhaps to direct our course. Because again, you can't stop it. It's like gravity. It's there. It's almost like a law. But understanding it again will allow you to better direct your desires. It's an interesting concept. Rene Girard, Girard, I believe. So check it out. And then there's the book that I found is not by Girard. I suppose if you're interested in Girard in particular, his book that this theory is popularized in is, I think it's called I Saw Satan Fall Like Lightning, which is a verse from the Bible, or Satan Fell Like Lightning. And that can get, being what it is, basically a philosophical tract, that can get pretty hot and heavy. So I'll just get it. There's a book. And then the term that I couldn't think of that is essential to what I'm talking about is Mimetic Desire. This is the book that helps break it down better. Wanting the Power of Mimetic Desire in Everyday Life. And it's fascinating stuff. And I guess I agree with it. I mean, it explains a lot of things. It explains the success of Facebook. It explains the success of all these YouTube channels. We're looking at things that are held up and transformed into a desire that a want that we reach for. And remember, you want to keep want separate from need. But this relates brilliantly to what we do. I mean, how many times do we see somebody post something on a channel, a new game, or this or that, and do we really? Again, I'm not going to say need it. Do we really want it, or do we want or desire simply because somebody else, this model, is the term, has presented this thing, this object, and caused us to desire it? So again, it's an interesting idea. Go check it out. If you don't want to buy the book, get it from your library. That's all the infantry. That went really fast. I think I'm going to grab. No, I'm going to finish the cavalry, and then I'll grab the remaining infantry. So he takes this concept further and applies it to cultures and societies throughout history. And according to him, it explains a lot of things, in particular, the idea of scapegoat, because it's as stated in this book, which I haven't read yet, I'm still reading. He says that it's not our differences that create strife and conflict, but our similarities. And again, that relates to desires and desiring a similar or same thing, which creates conflict and strife. And the way that typically, historically, gets resolved is through a scapegoat, for lack of a better term, literally a scapegoat. So that could be anything from, well, that feller Jesus to what have you. But the cause of the strife that occurs between conflicting desires, wanting a similar or same thing, is transposed onto something else that can be blamed for the cause of the strife. That thing is then killed, literally sacrificed. This has been demonstrated over and over throughout history. And then the cycle starts over again, and it is a cycle. So, again, interesting stuff. That's about all I know. The guy that started PayPal, Thiel, Theil, I believe, is a big proponent of Rene Girard's theories, and the author of this book actually talked to the PayPal dude. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Or you can just, instead of getting the book, you can just go to Hermetics, the Hermetics podcast. It's basically Hermit, IX, Hermetics. And listen to the interview regarding Rene Girard and his theories. I think the guy started out as a literary critic, and it had to do with a position in a university, and he was asked to do some classes on literature. And what he would do is he hadn't read a lot of this stuff, so he would read, like, say, Don Quixote, and then as soon as he was done, start teaching class on it. And reading a lot of these literary works, he came to recognize a pattern in all of them, and that pattern relates to what later became his mimetic theory. Interesting stuff. Other artillery. This is horse artillery, no? Yes. Let's differentiate that from the foot artillery. God, the lighting in here. Did I already say the lighting's bad? It's even worse. Let's see what I'm doing. They have these pegs on the bottom, right? And if you don't clip them right, if you leave too much off on the peg, it won't sit in the base. It'll be too long, and it won't sit in the base like it's supposed to. If you cut too much off, it won't sit right. It is the darndest thing. What have I done here? What is this? Is this heavy cavalry? So this is heavy cavalry. But every guy on this sprue looks relatively similar. Not sure who's what. I know they're not. Good Lord. We'll have to figure out who's who. It's 5 guys to a stand for cavalry. And then a strip of these guys is what, 10? 10, and it's two strips to a base, so that's 20. But I don't know what these are. I'm going to have to look it up here in a second. It's driving me nuts. Because I want to keep everything separate. I did a thing very unlike me last night. I ordered Domino's and got hot wings. It seems so strange to even say that. I don't typically eat stuff like that. If I eat pizza, it's like decent pizza. And how was it? Well, it was okay. I don't know that's anything I need to do on a regular basis. I'm going to check and see what the hell I'm doing here. Why is it doing that? I'm looking up Warlord French Epic Waterloo starter set. I need to know what cavalry is what this goohickiness going on. You're not going to tell me? Really? You're not going to tell me what this is? Maybe it tells me down here. Here we go. This is the French, right? So the Lancers, Chasseurs, Cheval, and Hussars should be in the light. I'm doing the heavy right now. That should be the light. So Dragoons, Cuirassiers. What's a Dragoon and what's a Cuirass? That looks like a Cuirass. That looks like, I don't know. I'll have to do more research. Or maybe somebody out there knows and will help me. We're not going to help you. You're on your own. You chose this path. You accept the responsibility for having chosen it. That's heavy. Which is also an interesting concept if you think about it. How different our world would be if people accepted the responsibility of their actions. Civilization might actually be a civilized place. Or not. I mean, what can you, the stranger, he kills a guy, but he's like, yeah, I killed him. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to lie about it. I killed him. Which is also where the song from The Cure, Killing an Arab, comes from. This is heavy, right? Yeah, 2 sprues, or is it 3? Yeah, 3 sprues of heavy and 3 sprues of light. And I think I have an extra sprue in there because I bought the magazine, which came with a sprue. Couldn't wait, so I bought a magazine to get an early sneak peek at what I was in for, and was pleasantly surprised. More horse artillery. Why does that look like that? I'm trying to figure out who goes where here. There we go. That looks better. A little bit looser fit on that horse artillery, but still doable. As long as the damn thing isn't broken. Making headway, yes. Getting there. Thanks for checking on me. I may have lost consciousness and fallen off the chair. I wonder if that's happened. It has to. If it hasn't, it's going to happen at some point. Somebody's going to be live streaming. And I'm not trying to be funny. It's a serious thing. These must be dragoons or carabiners. Well, they got a rifle on the side. Somebody's going to be streaming and have a heart attack. Like live streaming. I don't know. What do you do with that? Do you call 911 if that happens? If you're watching somebody and they just kick the bucket, like mid-live stream, you call 911, right? And then what? How do you... You can't give them an address of where the person's at. I'd like to report so-and-so from the YouTube channel blah, blah, blah has expired. I guess they have to contact YouTube. I don't know how that works. I don't know. French heavy cavalry. You know, this don't feel very heavy. These sculpts, again, are very good, but I will admit that brilliant when you look at them from the side, but you could tell there's a little bit of less detail if you look at it from the front, from the back. Great sculpts, though, for what they are. I mean, come on, guys. My only real complaints, again, are the awful red color of the British, and let's be honest, this stuff is not cheap. So why do we continue to give companies our money if it's too expensive? Yeah, I don't know. It's a neurosis. I don't know what this is, but I have to change it. Awful song, awful. I'll be back. This song's terrible. It's like, what is this? It's so bad. It's like Tom Petty wannabe jump. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do that. I don't have a problem with Tom Petty, but if I want to hear something that sounds like Tom Petty, I'm going to listen to Tom Petty, not something that sounds like Tom Petty. Is this more heavy? What is this? Sir? More heavy. More heavy. That was actually the Helicopters, but it wasn't the normal singer. Which is, I guess, why he's not the normal singer. He's like, you know what? You guys use my van to drive around. Let me do a song. Okay, fine. Let's do one song. The surface that I'm cutting on is very, it gives way. Like if the figure like sinks into it, which is good because if you do it on a hard surface, you're stressing the figure and things can break. Had I considered this beforehand? No. This is something I realized along the way. I just wanted something to cut on. But the choice has worked out. What's this? We have an incoming message here. Something about Wayne Gretzky. Scored his 1,000th point when he was 23 years old. Yeah, I know. He's the best ever. I get it. I'm still partial to Fedorov. Sergei Fedorov, the best hockey player ever. Big fan of Brett Hall, too. That guy can fire the puck, man. Those were fun days, being a Blues fan, watching Brett Hall play. Because you knew at some point during the game he was going to get at least one of those gigantic slap shot blasts that was like just, and it was going to go in, guaranteed. And you just watch and wait. He could really fire the puck. See, I didn't cut enough of that nub off. I don't want to recut these nubs. No, sir, I don't like it. Good with the nubs. You gotta watch your nubs, guys. You don't want your nubs too short. You don't want your nubs too long. It's a metaphor for life. Life is a nub. You don't want it to be too short or too long. Cut too much of his tail off. And when you do that, you're stuck with like some discolored plastic. Cut too deep. What's up, wardrobe? Yeah, mini Sprues. You're no stranger to Sprues, are you? I won't clip counters, but I'll do this. I know, that don't make sense. Clipping counters is like, to miniatures, like not having painted figures. Oh, you don't clip your counters? They just look so bad. I can't even watch your videos because the counters aren't clipped. I can't bear to watch. It's just too much. Really? You guys. So this would be, God, these Lancers. Where's the Lancer? God, look. These Lancers, they just look great. Some of them. They're not all Lancers, but you can see, like, and here's some Lancers. They just look good. There should be another sprue of heavy, or is it all light? Are we heavy? Yeah, let's finish this heavy, and then we'll do our light sprues. And then the remainder of those extra supplementary infantry, and then that's it. Yeah, heavy. And it does, again, it looks like a god-awful amount of stuff, but when it's all based and set up, it doesn't look like it's as much. I'm going to regret having to go through all these, but I don't know who's what. There's these guys. There's this guy without. That's two types. And then there's this guy. But I think he's the same type as this type. We've got Cuirassiers, Dragoons. I don't know who's what. Jesus. Freaking look it up. This plastic is just great. It's not brittle. It doesn't break too easily. It's pretty sturdy. The only issues I've really had is the few that were already broken when I opened the box, and I'm talking about the British. But I have yet to uh, be responsible for personally breaking anything on these guys. They hold up well. It's already Sunday, man. You know, you get off work on Friday, and you just want to relax. You spend Saturday just kind of like hanging out, charging your battery, and then when Sunday rolls around, you're just about ready to maybe start doing something, and it's like you got to go to work the next day. So what are you gonna do? You get a bunch of these and cut them off the sprue, I guess. I don't care if people clip my counters. It's a choice, man, as long as you're rolling dice, baby. Exactly, and I'll tell you what. If anybody wants to clip my counters, feel free. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I got to draw the line somewhere, and that's where I draw it. It can be overwhelming, but again, and you have to remember, I'm not painting these. So there's not a whole lot of intimidation going on, really. I did my painting spiel. Does that mean I'll never paint again? No, but I mean, come on, look at this. I'm supposed to paint these guys? You know how much detail and time, and I don't think I have it in me. I don't see it happening. And I used to think painting smaller things, smaller scale was easier. I don't know that it is. You know what's the easiest to paint is World War II figures, because you're pretty much like Americans, they're just, everything's out throughout. And I painted enough of those back in the day to... Why is this? Yeah, he's turning that one. I've painted my share of World War II figures. I ought to sell them or give them all a wardrobe. They just sit in boxes. I don't do anything with them. Very rarely have I gotten out, and when I do, it's like this, you know. See, these are easy to paint. Look how easy that is. That was probably 15 years ago, Flames of War stuff I did. Boxes and boxes and boxes of painted Flames of War stuff. So this Napoleonic stuff was not my first miniatures dance. I just, the Flames of War stuff happened before I was filming anything, or you guys would have tons and tons of Flames of War videos. All right, we've started our light cavalry sprue. Light cavalry sprue. Sprue? Light cavalry. We must keep light cavalry sprue separate from the heavy cavalry sprue. This is imperative, or we will have much frustration and consternation, gnashing of teeth, rending of clothes, hair pulling. Indian place isn't open till 5:30. I haven't eaten lunch. What to do? Do I eat something to hold me over, or do I just go in starving? Going in starving is always a bad idea because then you overeat. Look at that Lancer. It looks, for the size, that's pretty nifty. It looks pretty good. These are actually I think these are just a hair bigger than the ACW Epic. I think these are a bona fide 14 millimeter. Maybe I'm wrong. Do your research. Had to do laundry today. You guys that have washers and dryers in the home, that modern convenience, don't take that for granted. That's nice. That's good stuff. It's always an adventure going to the laundromat. Trust me. When I go to the laundromat, I don't tend to really bring anything to do. I test myself to see how long I can stare at the stuff in the machine turning around. I don't know if it's like a insanity thing, but it's like a challenge, and I try to see if I can watch it from start to finish. See if I have enough patience, or I don't know if I'd call it focus, to be able to stand there and do that. And that's what I usually do. Actually, I went for a walk, a little bit of a walk in the neighborhood where the laundromat's at. Did that for a while. Stare at people and try not to let it be obvious that you're staring at people. I cut his rump off. He got a horse without a rump. Horse rump. Two more sprues of this light, and then that supplementary infantry. Trying to come up with a system that at least looks nice for on the table to help identify brigade leaders and the battalions that belong to a specific brigade. This is fun for me, actually, to try and determine this stuff. I'm tempted to play with one of these, Napoleonic or ACW, because I would rather get the minis and just play and not worry about painting. Agree. Staring is meditative to practice that. Is it? But I believe I would get a complete rash of if I didn't paint them by my local peers. See, that's silly. Peer pressure. To me, though, it's a great way to introduce people to the concept of these miniatures rule sets. There is, I've already talked about this, but there is a peer pressure to paint stuff. It's folly, pure folly. The answers are great. Almost have a medieval knight look to them. I wonder what the next epic era set will get released. It'll probably be either Ancients. I don't know if I'll want to hop in on that, or something like medieval era, which I would hop in on. Because I don't have, when it comes to miniatures, I don't have any ancients. I don't have any medieval era stuff. Nothing like that. And it's a great way to get that stuff in bulk quickly. Cutting sprues. You guys been watching any of the Chief? That guy with he's running the Twilight 2000 campaign, and he's got a couple folks. One of them, Dan from No Enemies Here, and another gentleman who, forgive me, I forget his name. Well, I think it's neat that he's doing that. And I haven't watched all of them, but that's pretty cool that he's doing that. And I'd always had a fondness for Twilight 2000. But, yeah, pretty cool. If you get a chance, check that out. And check out Wardrobe's channel if you haven't already. He's always got something cooking on the stove. And I applaud his variety. He does have his shticks, but he mixes it up. And I get kind of, how do I put this? I get in a debate with myself about, do I do things that I know people want to see, or do I do things I want to do? And I've leaned more towards, I'm just going to do things that I want to do. And I know it's at the expense of some viewers, but that's just how it is. That's what I've decided. Because I'm sure 90% of the subscribers to this channel were like, when I subscribed to this channel, I did not subscribe to watch a bunch of little plastic ponies get pushed around the table, but that's where it's at. So. I do what I'm interested in, and this is still what I'm interested in, so this is what I'm doing. I don't know about John Wayne Everett. Do you have a channel, John Wayne Everett, that you put stuff on? I guess I'll check it out. Check and see when I'm done. See if you film stuff. They give you evil standards if you want to put with your cavalry. I don't know if I'm going to mess with that. It's debated how often that was made use of in battle. How often did cavalry come rushing in with an evil standard? I don't know. That's another one of those quibbly things, right? Where somebody will chime in and go, "Why do you have eagle standards? They didn't, such and such unit only ever did," and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. But I do applaud folks that know such extreme detail regarding the history of the Napoleonic uniforms and how things were done, because it's just there's so much of it. It's just so much. Last light infantry sprue. I still need to glue up and flock with static grass the bases these are going on, and then stick them on the bases. Then I can throw them on the table with the British who are already on the table, and they can dance. I'm going to start off with a General d'Armée scenario. Doesn't mean I'll be using the General d'Armée rules. We'll see. See what kind of mood I'm in. Movie recommendation: The Last Duel. I think it's streaming on HBO Max. Ridley Scott directed it. Give that a watch. It's good stuff. Um, Series-wise, Station 11 is good. Post-apocalyptic, based on a best-selling book. Uh, Somewhat similar in plot, or I should say, there's a virus and it kills off most of civilization. She wrote this though way before COVID was a recognizable thing. But that's an interesting series to watch. Another series I've been watching, which I won't state because it's a guilty pleasure, but it's good stuff.
With over 200 females, Wolford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the season and the sense.
And there's a ton of stuff on YouTube. Anybody that is a friend of mine on Facebook, I've been posting what I call hidden gems on YouTube, and I'm doing that because it's not something you have to pay for or have access to. You just go to YouTube and watch it. And there, you'd be surprised the amount of stuff, quality stuff that's on there that for whatever reason hasn't been found and taken down yet, or I don't know how that works. I guess it's whichever way the wind blows. Because one day something will be up, the next day it'll be down. Ooh, that broke, I think. I can live with it, but I got my first breakage just because I'm being not as careful as I should be. He broke the tip of his lance off. So he's going to be the laughing stock of his unit with his broken tip. Just the tip, though. That's all. Just the tip. There we go. And again, I'd probably be using a better razor on this. I think this needs changed out. Almost done. One more artillery guy here. And then that supplementary infantry sprue business. And you guys are free to go. Yeah, The Last Duelist. Watch that. It's interesting. Another video I talked about Ridley Scott's Napoleon movie he's doing called Kit Bag. You'll be happy to know, or maybe you don't care. He's officially changed that name, so it's not Kit Bag anymore. It's Napoleon. He's filming it now. I'm not sure when it'll be ready. But it's going to be a massive, epic blowout movie. No less than 6 major battles portrayed. Going to be good stuff. Hopefully sometime next year we'll be able to sit and watch that. I'm going to run and grab the supplementary infantry and put those, and then that's that. So this is what I'm doing with the static grass flocking. Here, look, guys, see that? Works out nice. I just do it right on the sprue, and I do everything. I get a brush, some Elmer's glue, paint it on there, and then put it in a Tupperware thing and do the squeeze bottle, static grass, and I just do sprue after sprue after sprue, and then I clip them off, and then I punch the guys on. Here's a supplementary box of infantry. I've got 2 of these because you can never have enough. These will go fast, and then that's it. I will have accomplished what I set out to accomplish for today. Laundry. I did a little vacuuming, which the cat loves. She loves that vacuum cleaner. They're such good friends. The thing is, she's so scared of it, she gets angry at it. She doesn't run away. She wants to attack it, which is weird. That, and then got a little Indian food coming up later, something to look forward to. Wardrobe's blowing up. What we got here? Great way to introduce people to kind of ancient American Revolution. Do you think they would do American Revolution? I don't know that I would be in on that. I'm not a big AWI fan. I can't remember. Do you have the ACW? Yeah, I do. It's behind me here. I don't know if you can see it up in the corner there. Where's my hand? You can see some of them in the corner there. It's all ton of it. Union, Confederate, and I bought it because I thought, just on the off chance they don't do the Napoleonic stuff, which is a stupid thing to even consider. Because you knew they were. I can use these for Napoleonics as well because they're small enough that honestly, when you're looking at them on the table, unless you really get up close, it's kind of hard to make out uh, detail and differentiation. But I thought, I'll be able to use these, and so I went all in. But plus, I didn't have any ACW guys, and so yeah, I did that. In fact, I've got stuff, and I didn't paint them either. And I've got stuff that I haven't finished basing yet. I did do the Dismounted Cavalry. I bought skirmishers, but they look so crappy. I didn't. I'm happy to probably give them away if anybody wants them. 2 boxes of ACW skirmishers, and I say they're crappy because the sculpts are just ridiculous. It's like they're sculpted where one guy's like sculpted into a rock or like a boulder, and it looks ridiculous. And just like let us add any terrain features we want to add. I appreciate the consideration, but just stop. Anyway, at the end of the day, they looked so bad. I packed them up and I didn't use them. This is the Civil War skirmishers. But I did use again. Yeah, I did use the Dismounted Cavalry, and I've got the Union Brigade here, which was a separate box. I did buy some Zouaves, but I haven't mounted them yet either. Both sides utilize Zouaves. People love the Zouaves. What is it, the red? Is it the red that gets people? Yeah, again, I hope they do some individual commanders. You're going to need Napoleon and Ney and folks like that. You just kind of got to. I don't know that I need to base all this artillery, but I'm going to punch and construct anyway. Go. Alright. Another sprue down. Look at this stack of sprues. This is the sprues I've gone through so far, right? Skirmishers are still on there. Not sure how I'm going to work with them yet. Put this here. 5 sprues left. All infantry. What's the temperature there, Wardrobe? You guys get a bunch of snow? Like 7 inches or something? Every time I go home, Wardrobe lives where I'm from. Every time I go home, I think maybe it'll snow. It's Christmas. It never does. And then when I leave, January rolls around, February rolls around, all the snow happens. Always when I'm gone. So if you guys hate snow there in Missouri, figure out a way that I can stay there throughout the winter and it won't snow. Because it never snows. Isn't that a game? It never snows in September. It never snows. Here's the follow-up module that it never snows in September. It never snows in Missouri when Jason's there. That's the follow-up MMP module by the gamers coming out. I guess that's a consideration as well, right? A World War II. You think they do a World War II epic scale? I guess they'd be silly not to. That'd be a big seller, wouldn't it? Or would they consider that to be too much of a conflict with bolt action and Flames of War, maybe? People even still play Flames of War? It's all bolt action now. That's all I ever see. I have no bolt action stuff. I have the rules. I own no bolt action figures. Very happy with the French sprues. British had some broken stuff. That weird red hue that I had to fix. Just slap Dakota flat red on it. No real complaints with the French. Very happy. Look good. Not enough artillery here. I could probably do Napoleon's Daughters, huh? Not wanting for a lack of artillery. Back's starting to get fussy. You know, that back thing, I don't know what happened to me. I swear, I was riding the bike 11 miles every other day and just not a care in the world. And then the back thing, I don't understand. Still dealing with that. And as I've sat here for how long now? Now going on an hour and a half. I can feel myself stiffening up and getting sore. What a mess. Where are you going? Huh. Yeah, these French infantry just look great with their Eagle standard, and when the flag's on there, it's going to look great. And I have to say, in particular, thank you for molding that with the Eagle standard on it, so we didn't have to glue it onto the guy. Thank you, Warlord, for molding that onto the strip. It's one less thing I have to worry about. I end up gluing my fingers to my face and doing this. Let's use a tiny bit of super glue for these guys when I'm basing them on these little pegs, just a little bit for stability. And if I can get away with it, I'm not gluing cavalry on the sprues. I think I cut another horse butt off. Friend, why is all your cavalry, they don't have butts? Because I cut them off. Horse butt. We just get some green putty and mold horses' asses. Sometimes I go to Hobby Lobby and you just buy whatever you need for whatever. And sometimes there's this girl there and she's like, "What are you making?" And you think to yourself, she's probably thinking I'm going to tell her something really cool and fascinating. It's like, no, I got a bunch of these little plastic soldiers and I'm building this or that. And she's just like, okay. I thought it was something cool. Never mind. I hate to be the bearer of disappointing news, but that's all that's going on. Nothing cool. I'm gonna artillery. Well, how many stands left? Three. Countdowns. Final countdown. 3 stands. And then that's all, folks. Hopefully these nubs are right. Nick Games, nice games. Just watch your 28mm parade. Impressive army, well done. Thank you. I paid my dues and earned that set. I mean, I really worked painting that stuff for 3 months. I went really hot and heavy, and then continued at a lesser pace through, I would say, December. I'm overall very pleased with the end result. And for those that know, I apologize because I've already said this, but for those that don't, those guys built in gray primer for probably about a year, taunting me, staring at me, until finally I couldn't take it anymore. And I thought, why do I have these damn things if they're just going to sit there and go like dust and not get painted? Because I mean, with 28mm, I will argue, yeah, you kind of need to paint them because they're such that they're a size and stuff that I mean, if you're not into the painting thing, you probably shouldn't get 28mm figures. I will argue that, but at this scale, I mean, come on, you probably get away with it. Yeah, so I finally did. I remember many long days and nights sitting in that kitchen sweating in the summer, painting 28mm Napoleonic stuff. 812 is the end result, I believe. Music in the background, if at all audible, is still the Helicopters. My favorite bands from Sweden, as already stated. 2 more sprues. Yeah, wardrobe with the you get your gray and you get your blue. Now here's the deal: don't order from, no offense, Warlord, but don't order from Warlord. Obviously, and you probably already know this. If they still have them in stock, I think they do. Order them from Miniature Market. Now that I've told everybody, you're gonna have to beat everybody that's interested that's gonna order them, but because it's gonna be cheaper, dude, and it's gonna take less time, obviously, to ship. And if you need any American Civil War skirmishers, I've got 2 boxes. I should probably sell them, but I mean, if it's somebody that is diehard interested in an ACW skirmishers, I suppose I can part with them for free. I'm not using them. No intention of using them. I don't like the sculpts. I already said that. Maybe you would. I suppose if I adjust the camera, it wouldn't really offend too many folks. And where you can see, there's the Union, and then I'm in the way here, but there's the Confederates. So, and you've probably already, wardrobe, I'm sure you've already seen, there's a number of videos in which I use those. I used to have them glued to hexagon bases, and I would just move the base. Changed that and ended up basing them, but I based them differently than what I'm doing with the static grass, because I didn't know the ways of static grass yet. So this is like from a rollout mat that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I just cut it in strips and glued them to the bases. Worked fine. But again, that was before I knew the ways and intricacies of static grass. Nadia, why do I feel like you're spam? Nadia Vasilov. is not your spam. When you chime in and say stuff like viewer life, you're either a bot or you're just. Yeah, it's a ton, man. That's the box sets and supplementary stuff. It's a ton for sure. And then here I am doing it all over again. This is my third wave of it went 28 ACW, 28 mil, then ACW, and now this. And then I'm stopping for a while because I think I suffer from new shiny syndrome. YouTube's fault. You see somebody with something and you think, yeah, I want that. Which ties into the theory I was talking about earlier. One sprue left. You guys have been a great audience. I didn't figure anybody would chime in, considering what I'm doing, because again, it's like watching somebody clip infantry off the sprues. Wait, that is what I'm doing. And again, it looks like a lot, but that'll go fast once you start putting them on the bases. I have to go through the heavy and the light and weed out who's what. Set them apart. Last sprue. Not a lot of people are going to sit through the entirety of this video, so when I kill it, I'm going to put up a video of progress report number 3, so folks don't have to sit through all of this. I suppose you could fast forward, but I don't even know if anybody is going to bother to fast forward through it once it's up for viewing. Probably the most tedious thing involved with doing these is putting the flags on. With the British, you've got 2 flags per command stand. With the French, really only 1. I used a glue stick for the flags, and I used the flags that came with the folks. So it's pretty much just paper, which looks good instead of a glossy thing. So that's what I'll do for these guys. I think I ended up using about half the included flags for the British. That's how many command stands I had. All right, artillery unit, and that's it. There's that. All these sprues. That's all the sprues we worked through today. You guys were a great help. Appreciate that. That's from the French starter set and 2 boxes of supplementary French infantry. Took us, what's I've been yapping, so it took us about an hour and a half. Probably would have went a little faster if I wasn't yapping. Because it's hard to do 2 things at once, and talk and clip. Is you good? No. Is you good now? No. Always good. So if a standard battery of artillery is 3, that's how many batteries are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 foot, and 1, 2, 3, 2 horse. But again, I have supplementary cavalry, one light, one box of light, one box of heavy that I haven't opened and clipped yet. So, but that's all I'm doing for right now. I'll glue the bases up and stick them on there, put them on the table, and show you what it looks like. But right after I kill this, I am going to film my second progress report so you can see the farmhouse, what I ended up doing with it, and what at least the British look like on the table. So anything else you guys got, let me know. Otherwise, I'm out of here. Have fun walking the dog. I don't know if that's a euphemism. I hope you're being literal. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you next time I see you. If I can figure out, there we go. Boom.